Alrighty, so match week number 7 has now concluded as we just finished the Sunday night soccer game between the Columbus Crew versus Orlando City, which we'll talk about tomorrow in part 2 of the review. As part number 1, as usual, looking at the first 8 games, looking at the matinee games that we have on this board, and then on the other board, those are the 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific start that happened yesterday. But one thing for sure in terms of this match week and the storyline is that we no longer have a unbeaten team and winless team in MLS, as we saw the last winless team finally got a win this week. So it didn't take us 17 weeks like we saw last season for us to see our last team to finally get a win in a season. And we also didn't spend as much as last season, where I forgot how many weeks it was for a team to stay unbeaten, but it definitely felt like a while as we saw the last unbeaten team suffer their first loss of the season. So now everybody have at least got a win so far this season, and now everybody have at least got a loss to their name so far this season. But let's begin with the first of the 4 matinee game, and we start off with Toronto versus FC Cincinnati. And I gotta say, for Toronto, this felt like the New York Red Bulls game all over again. A game where it looked like for sure that they were going to get all 3 points, and then it snatched them out of their hand. And I think this one is just as painful as well, considered they were a man up in this game. Like, they looked like they were about to get all 3 points against a Cincinnati side that seems like they have no hope whatsoever, and yet they blew it late in this one. And I also want to say that, I feel like in the future for Toronto games, I should just watch like the last 10 minutes or the last 15 minutes of the game, because it feels like that's where the most entertaining part of the TFC game always happened. Now, in the first half, Salvatano denied Etienne Jr., as that was the game's first shot, before Gavron denied Barlow from close range. Toronto definitely were more on the front foot early on as they looked to create some chances, though I said that neither team was really creating too much chances up to that point. The shots were 2 apiece 15 minutes in. We then go for a period where not much really happened. Neither of these teams were good in the final third. Evander then struck the wall on the free kick. I want to mention that because that just kind of sums up Evander's season so far. He has just not looked the same ever since he suffered that injury, and that can happen for a player. When you, of course, are coming off of injury, especially early in the season, it is not easy to get yourself back to match fitness. It feels like it's like almost a stopping and go. You're so ready to begin the season for the preseason, and then you just suffer an injury, and that setback is definitely tough to try to recover. But in the 4th minute stoppage time, Gavron denied Miazga from close range, but we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Evander puts it wide from close range. Gavron denied Haglund on the header. Cincinnati definitely looked like the better team early on, with some sustained pressure, looking to try to get the opener. Cifuentes would puts it over from close in the 57th minute before Sargent was in on goal, but his shot was wide off of a deflection, and that is one that Josh Sargent will want to have back. That is kind of the reason why Toronto spent so much money for him. And I know so far, he's still trying to get himself back to match fitness, but eventually we got to see the result. I mean, with the amount that you're paying for it, this would be a huge flop and a half if George Sargent doesn't pan out for this TFC side. Also, it doesn't help the fact that he doesn't have Georgi Mihajlovic, him, as it was recently announced that Mihajlovic is going to be out for a couple weeks for this team. In fact, not just a couple weeks, but a couple months for this TFC side. So that's a huge blow for this Toronto team that really relies him when it comes to chance creation. But there was a shout for a penalty for Cincinnati not given. Etienne Jr. then puts it wide from close. But then in the 71st minute, Denke got a second yellow card. And it was really just a rush of blood from Kevin Denke, because he just got a yellow card a couple of seconds ago. And I understand he's frustrated with the call, but you just cannot retaliate. It felt like that was a retaliation foul that he has, and yeah, just like that, second yellow card. Cincinnati was down to 10 men. Pereira then puts it high from close range, and now the pressure is Toronto. I mean, you're up a man in this one. You're playing at home in the midst of this 9-game home stretch. You have to win this game. And it looked like they were going to do so, because in the 83rd minute, it was an unfortunate own goal from Gilberto Flores. He tried to clear that one away, but just kind of deflected into his own net, but TFC will take it. It's 1-0 in favor of Toronto late in the game. Osorio then looked for another on the free kick, but he puts it over. But then the second minute stoppage time, Cincinnati showed some fight. And again, they have shown some fight at times this season. Going back to the Montreal game when they were down to 10 men, they definitely show a lot of fight in that game, and they showed it again here as Buma Dan scoring from Jabari and Giddy to tie the game up for Cincinnati in this one. On the other end, Salvatano would deny Henry from close. But yeah, in the end, it ends on a 1-1 draw on this one. Shots in this one, 9 shots for the 8 that Cincinnati has. Both teams had 4 shots on goal. 1 shot off target with a free that Toronto has. 2 shots that was blocked with a free that Cincinnati has. And possession-wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession that Cincinnati has in this game. Very frustrating game for Toronto FC. This absolutely feels like a loss for them. And again, I know they're doing pretty well so far this season when you look at the standings, but you expect that is the case when you have so many home games now. And now, if you don't capitalize on this home stretch and dropping points like this you come back to haunt TFC if they have some playoff aspiration as well. But for Cincinnati, I mean, I know they didn't get the win in this one, and the struggle bus kind of continued for Pat Nolan's side. But hey, at least you showed some fight in this game, and I think that's all you ask for when you're in a struggling kind of path as what the Cincinnati team has been in these last couple of weeks. And at least in this game, they didn't concede multiple goals. That's definitely a start for a defense that has just. It is shocking to see how bad this defense is for Pat Nolan. Pat Nolan's side have always known to have a good stealth defense, and this season, like I said many times before, it's just I don't know what's going on of why things have just kind of fall apart for this team on the defensive end. Now, moving on in the next game, we got Austin and the Galaxy. So the Galaxy did something that they have not done in a very, very long time. In fact, last season, I don't think they even got a road win. So it's been almost a year or so since they have last got a road win. And they finally did it in this one. Early on, Mark Sinkowski would deny Ramirez from close range before Peck hits it right to Stuver on the free kick. The shots were one apiece 15 minutes in, though not much really happened in my opinion. Tommy would then hits it right to Stuver in the 17th minute, and then he puts it high from long range. This is by far the best game that Eric Tommy had played in a Galaxy jersey, and it showed it too. But despite the midweek game that they had in altitude, have to go down to Toluca and play in altitude, this team does not look tired. I mean, it's kind of fascinating to see the fact that, they have a midweek road game and they follow that with another road game as well. You usually see teams really suffer as a resort, but no, this Galaxy team, they look fresh. And in fact, this is probably one of their better games that they have played this season, which is kind of shocking to see because I definitely didn't see this coming when they face against an Austin team that is more notable when it comes to being good on the defensive part. Marcinkowski would then deny Ramirez from close before Biro would miss high from the corner. But then in the 34th minute, Yoshida scores. He scored from Royce to make it 1-0 in favor of the Galaxy. And in many ways, the Galaxy kind of giving Austin a little taste of their own medicine. Austin has always known to score from the set pieces. They're very good at it. But at times, they've also have been not great on the other end in terms of defending set pieces. And this was another example of it. Yoshida just left wide open there. You just can't do that. He's a big aerial threat, and just like that, the Galaxy were leading 1-0. He then tried to do it again from the corner just 6 minutes later, but he hits it right to Stuver. But the Galaxy definitely have some momentum. I mean, they were pressing hard to get that second goal. Sanabria would then miss wide from long range, but we do head to halftime with the Galaxy leading 1-0. In the second half, Marcinkowski would deny Rosales off of a deflection before Sorello hits it right to Stuver in the 66th minute. Just like the first half, not much chances really created, which I thought that favors the Galaxy because anytime when you're the road team and you have the lead, you want to keep those chance creation low on the other team that is trying to push to get the equalizer. Klaus would then hits it right to Stuver in the 74th minute, but then in the 78th minute, Galaxy doubled their lead. It's Eric Tommy. Like I said, this is probably his best game in a Galaxy jersey. He was very active on the attacking end, and he scored here. And I believe this is also his first goal for the Galaxy as well, ever since joining the Galaxy for Sporting KC this offseason. But he scored here from Garces and Marcinkowski to give the Galaxy a 2-0 lead. And it's also off of a lightning counterattack as well. I mean, Marcinkowski kind of played a quick ball to Garces, and next thing they were on the transition. But man, oh man, this Austin defense. I mean, I praised this Austin defense being pretty good in the beginning of the season. This was not one of those. I mean, this was horrible defending there from Austin. You just can't keep backing up and let Eric Tommy have a free shot. I mean, he is one of the best long range sniper in this league. But if you even allow him an inch to shoot, I mean, that felt like he just had a red carpet to shoot one and bend that one into the bottom right corner. But nevertheless, the Galaxy were up 2-0 in this one. I'm so used to saying the Galaxy are losing the game because, like I said, this has not been a great start to the season for the Galaxy. The Second minute, Dessler did look to answer, but he was denied by Marcinkowski. But then 85th minute, Ozuni does answer. He scored from Biro and Torres to give Austin some life and make this interesting late in this one. And then Biro himself tried to tie this one up, but this one actually he was trying to poke this one past Marcinkowski as well. Couldn't quite do so. And yeah, that was a huge missed opportunity for Guillermo Biro. He has known to score goals then and there for this Los Verdes team. But yeah, that is one that he would want to have back. But Austin, they were pushing hard to get the equalizer. Again, the Galaxy, you wonder if fatigue has started to become a factor playing in altitude in the middle of the week. But in the end, they hold on. They get the 2-1 win. It's the first road win that they have in quite some time as well. But the shots in this one, 13 shots per the 12 the Galaxy had. Both teams had 7 shots on goal, 2 shots off target per the 4 that Austin had. Both teams had 3 shots that was blocked and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to just 40% possession that the Galaxy has had. It's not often you see the Galaxy have not as much possession as that's kind of Greg Vanney MO, but hey, it worked out for them. I mean, like I said this is probably one of the best performance, if not the best performance that they play. At least the most complete performance of they have looked, and it's quite shocking the fact that they come right after when they have to go down to Mexico City, or I'm sorry, not Mexico City, but going down to Toluca, that is in altitude, and put up this kind of fight against an Austin team that, yeah, Austin has started to look like a team like last season all over again, where they have struggled to score goals, and also defensively, there's been some leaky moment as well, and that's not great news for Austin fans to see how this team is revert back to last season, and the only difference is they are definitely giving up more goals compared to last season as well. Now, moving on in the next match is Montreal and the Philadelphia Union. So, not only the fact that we saw the last winless team finally getting a win with the Philadelphia Union, finally not only getting their first point of the season, but they get their first win of the season in the process. And after this video, I will also do a video related to something happened in this game that happened just today, and that is the announcement that Marco Donadel has been fired by Montreal, and we'll definitely do a video about that. It won't be your usual me talking about the firing and just kind of do a breaking news kind of style. I'll actually go a little bit more in depth, and even looking back at some of the head coaches that Montreal has used to have in this past decade, and yeah, things are not going well for Montreal to say. It feels like they are once again stuck in this doom cycle of firing head coach, hiring another one, and then fire them after, because we all know what's the ultimate culprit of why Montreal has been a laughing stock the past couple of years. Now in the first half, they finally got a penalty. As it looked like Blake brought down Jaime in the box. They go to VAR to see actually whether if Jaime was even on an onside position. He wasn't. To be fair, I feel like even if he was in an onside position, I thought that was probably going to be overturned. It looked like Blake did get the ball before he brought down Jaime, but nevertheless, the offside kind of neglected all of that. So yeah, there was no penalty as a result. That was really the only notable event that happened in the first 18 minutes of the game. It was a very slow game to start this one as well. The first shot of the game didn't happen until the 19th minute when Verhoeven had a shot that hits right to Blake before Diamani puts one over, as that's the Union first shot. But then on the second shot for Montreal, it's in the back of the net as Ivan Jaime. He scored from Morales to give Montreal a 1-0 lead. Iloski did look to answer, but he puts that one over, and then his free kick was actually spilled by Gillier, but fortunate that he was able to gather on the second attempt. The Union, they definitely have some sustained pressure. Pressure, and again, with them being 1-0 down, and with how bad things have gone, you could have easily don't blame the fact that they would just fold like they usually do, but they put some good pressure trying to get themselves the equalizer. Iloski would then hit it right to Gillier on the free kick before Westfield would put it just wide from long range. On the other end, Laturi would miss wide from long range in the fourth man stoppage time, and then Gillier absolutely robbed Bueno of a rocket of volley. I mean, that thing was just hit on a lightning bolt, and I have no idea how Gillier was able to save that one. But we do head to halftime with Montreal leading 1-0. But in the second half, it feels like whatever Donadell in his final game with Montreal trying to rally his team to not just go bunker mode, it seems like kind of worked out a little bit, because they started to be on the front foot. Owusu had a tap in there, but could not quite connects the shot. Blake would then absolutely rob Longstaff of a point playing effort as well. So, as much as I know some people would say this is kind of like the wooden spoon derby, there was some great save by both goalkeeper as well. And both goalkeeper has been very good this season as well, despite of how bad things have gone this season for both of these teams. It's just that their defense kind of have let them down time and time again. But Montreal definitely has started the second half of the better side. They were pressing to get the second goal. However, in the 55th minute, Josh Larson would score for Miloski to tie the game up at one apiece, really kind of against the run of play, and yeah, just no marking whatsoever there from Josh Larson. I mean, you can't do that. You can't leave a player wide open like that, even with how much the Union are struggling to score goals. You just can't do that in any circumstances, and they pay the price just like that. It's tied up at one apiece, and it looked like it was 2-1 in the 56th minute when Ilowski put it into the back of the net. Problem was, the flag did not agree with him as Ilowski struggles with scoring goals with this Union team continue. He just have not had any luck whatsoever lately. But just like that, it feels like Philly kind of flipped the script. Now they were the one that pressed to try to get the opener. Diamante would then hits it wide from close in the 64th minute before he hits it right to Gillier in the 69th minute. But then 10 minutes later, the Union would take the lead as Jesus Breno, after getting absolutely robbed of an attempt late in the first half of a volley shot. This time it was not robbed. He also kind of hit this one off the volley. Not as powerful as the first half shot, but it was closer toward goal, and it gets past Gillier there as Alado would score from Ario to make it 2-1 in favor of the Union. And actually, it took a slight deflection as well, and I think that slight deflection is the difference, because had it not been deflected, I think Gillier probably would have got to that one. To be fair, Gillier did get a hand to it, just couldn't quite keep that one out. But yeah, just like that, the Union were up 2-1 in this game. Looked like this might finally be the day that they end their winless run. And they try to make sure of that when Vasilev looked to make it 3-1, but he was absolutely robbed by Gillier from point blank as well. And the Bluebirds were definitely out. That's not Saputo. It's not the first time we've seen that happen. It's been on regular occurrence, as in the end, the Philadelphia Union, for the first time this season after 7 games, they are finally on the board when it comes to not only the points category, but also on the win category as well. Shots in this one, 16 shots for the 8 that Montreal has, 5 shots on goal for the 7 that the Union had, 6 shots off target for the 2 that Montreal has, 2 shots off block for the none that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 52% possession for the 48% possession the Union has in this game. And like I said, after this review, I'll definitely talk about Montreal and their coaching situation, because yeah, it's dire in terms of what's going on with this team in this past decade or so. Now, let's talk about the next game, and that is the Portland Timbers versus LAFC. So, from seeing a winless team finally break the ice and get their first win of the season, we also saw a team that is unbeaten, and the last unbeaten team in MLS, that is LAFC, suffer their first loss of the season. Though this felt like it was a scheduled loss. You kind of had a sense with the way that it was pretty clear that Marc Dos Santos was punting this game away, pretty much not really putting most of the starters. I mean, the only notable starter I think they put in was Bawanga, Schroeder, and Tafari, but Song did not play in this one as well, along with a lot of the starters as well. And it makes sense because, again, I know they have a comfortable lead against Cruz Azul, but I'm pretty sure Marc Dos Santos realized that we are not going to do the same thing that Cincinnati did, which is blow a 3-0 lead going down to Mexico. But because of the fact that they pumped this game away, it just feels like, I mean, this game is also a game where it might have just bought Phil Neville a little bit more time, because, yeah, it was kind of looking dire a bit. I mean, the pressure was on the Timbers. They had to win this game against an LAFC team that was pretty much putting an LAFC 2 kind of roster. There is absolutely no excuse for them to not win this game, and they almost didn't in this one as well. In the 6th minute, Hans had with the first shot of the game, but he hits it right to Pantemis. Very open start to this game. The Timbers, they definitely had more of the possession. LAFC was going to do what they usually do, which is elect to sit back and look on the transition. Bawanga would miss wide from close in the 13th minute before Evans would hit it right to Pantemis. I mean, Bawanga, he was a little bit off in this game, but you can kind of understand, because, it just feels like he really missed Song in this game. Song is the one that always provides the service for him, and he definitely missed that with Song not being in this game. But even though I said that Bawanga had an off game, it was definitely not an off game for these makeshift player and these kids coming from LAFC too. I mean, another guy, one of them is Evans. He hits it right to Pandemis. I thought he had a game as well. And LAFC, again, they don't look too out of depth. In fact, they were leading the shots 4-0 20 minutes into this one. Portland just did not start on time whatsoever, and that got to frustrate Timbers fan, knowing that, oh boy, here we go again. If we can't even beat an LAFC two type of squad, what are the odds? The fact that this winless run is going to finally come to an end. But then we saw a very scary incident. So both Hasal and Smolyakov, they had a ugly collision there. So Smolyakov was able to go to continue. It was actually okay, but Hasal took the worst of that knock. And you got to feel for Thomas Hasal. He hasn't really got a lot opportunity. Larice is pretty much the number one for this Timbers side, or I'm sorry, this LAFC side in the goalkeeping spot. And even though he tried his best to continue, I think the doctor was basically saying, nah, you're not continuing. With the way how he looked and with the way that his nose was kind of bent in a wrong direction, there was no way he was going to come in. So here comes Carter coming in because Larice obviously didn't make the trip in this one. They were going with their third string goalkeeper and going with their LAFC 2 goalkeeper and Carter getting the start in this one. And it was not a great start for the youngster because on his first shot that he faced, you can see as the Portland Timbers finally end LAFC shutout streak. I mean, you knew eventually it's going to come to an end. I had a feeling this was going to be the game to do so, consider you're not playing your strongest team. But it ended in the 32nd minute with Christopher Valde continue to stay hot for this Timbers side. He scored from Bassett and Caicedo to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead, and that goal, as I said, it ended the 572-minute shutout streak that LAFC has had. One of the longest, that is, I believe, right up there in the top 10 longest streak in terms of shutout. It is also the longest shutout streak to start the season as well by any MLS team in the league history. But you knew eventually it's going to come to an end and finally end here. Ordaz did look to answer, but he missed wide before Valde puts it wide from long range. DaCosta would then hits it right to Carter. The Timbers, they definitely were feeling it a bit. You see how much a goal really changed a game and just changed the confidence level, because the confidence level for this Timber side was very low coming into this game, and that goal really feels like it re-energized them. They're now looking to try to get the second goal and see whether or not if this inexperienced goalkeeper is going to be up for the test. And the answer, it seems like he was up for the test, because Carter would then make an incredible triple save. He robbed DaCosta by and Bassett in that sequence, and like I said, it feels like Carter, he was up for the task. I mean, he was not shy of the bright sunshine at Providence Park. I wouldn't say the bright lights, that is, but this is, of course, it's a day game, so it kind of doesn't make sense to say it's the bright lights at Providence Park. So I guess the bright sunshine that is here at Providence Park. And this is the thing about MLS Next Pro. You know, you come from MLS Next Pro. MLS Next Pro has done a really good job when it comes to getting the player ready, that when they do get called up to the main team, they're not going to be out of depth as we usually used to see when MLS Next Pro wasn't actually a thing. Pantemis then denied Boyd from close on the other end before Bawanga hits it wide from close range. LAFC was pushing late now to try to get the equalizer, but we do head to halftime with the Timbers leading 1-0. That lead only lasted 3 minutes in the second half, because here's another youngster played for LAFC C2 a long time, as Hugh Terry would score his first career MLS goal from Evans and Bawanga to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And by the way, with that secondary assist, Bawanga has now reached 100 goal contribution. He become the 5th fastest player to reach 100 goal contribution in his MLS career. It's kind of surprising. He's only the 5th fastest, considering the fact that he's been scoring goals and assisting a lot during his time with LAFC. But even though that was a great moment for Bawanga, it's even a special moment for Drew Terry. I mean, that was an absolute golazo. Definitely in contention for goal of the week as well. Caicedo did look to answer in the 62nd minute, but he hits it right to Carter before Boyd would fire one to the Timbers Army in the 71st minute. LAFC, they're not just gonna think that 1 point is going to be enough. I mean, for many teams, when you play your reserve like this, you would have thought that maybe a point would be enough, but they were looking to try to get all 3 in this one. Aravina on the other end would hit it right to Carter before Porches looked like he got the go-ahead goal for LAFC, but they go to VAR to see whether or not if there was an offside on the development play, and there was. So yeah, as a result, the goal, of course, was chopped off, and that was a huge momentum swing. That really was one of the bigger moments of this game, because, you know, if that goal would have sat, I don't think the Timbers would have come back from this one. Arvina would then had a shot that was cleared off the line by Tafari before on the other end we had we had oh god, what did I wrote there. I can't really read my handwriting there. I think it was one of the LAFC player that missed one from close range. But on the other end, in the 5th minute stoppage time, the Timbers get the winning goals. So Kevin Kelsey, who hasn't really got a lot of minutes for this Timber side, he's trying to make his case that he wants to get into the starting 11 as well. But he scored from by and Valde to give the win for the Portland Timbers. So yeah, this is the second time this season that the Portland Timbers have scored a late goal to win the game. Both time is the only wins that they have so far this season, but they'll absolutely take it. I mean, like I said, the pressure was absolutely on. If they didn't win this game, have they lost this game, have that goal wasn't chopped off, and Poitras actually scored that one. Yeah, Phil Neville, I don't know if he was gonna make it by Sunday evening. He might have joined Marco Donadell in the unemployment line after this game, but instead, this win does buy him a little bit of time. They do get the big win to end their winless run, which was I think at five games if I'm not mistaken. This was their first win that they had since opening day against Columbus. Shots of this one: 19 shots with 11 that the Timbers had, 5 shots on goal with 9 that the Timbers had, 2 shots off target with 5 that LAFC had, 7 shots was blocked with 1 that the Timbers had, and possession-wise, 55% possession for the 45% possession that LAFC has in this game. And I forgot to say it in this game as well, where well, I know the Philadelphia Union. I mean, beating Montreal might not be something that is considered to be. Oh, we're definitely in the back. We're back to being our best, and the same goes for the Portland Timbers beating a reserve LAFC side. That might not sound like a big deal. Might not sound like yeah we're truly back. It's something that they both of these teams desperately needed. I mean, both of these teams have not been having a good season so far and are low in confidence coming into their respective game against an opponent that they probably should definitely get all 3 points, and that's exactly what happened. And like I said, at least this win does by Phil Neville sometime, and now we'll see whether or not if they can't get on a run, because if we go by Phil Neville and the way that his past team looks, usually this team goes on a winning streak, and then they'll definitely get themselves back, and then once they start losing again, yeah, they're back to the winless run that they have, because that's just kind of how Phil Neville side rolled in the past couple of years. With that being said, I am now going to switch board and look at the last 3 games. I'm sorry, the last 4 games that is, and look at the 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff game to finish off part 1 of this review. All right, so now let's get to the 7:30 start, get to sort of the night game, because the first game we're talking about isn't really a night game. It's still in the bright afternoon sunshine in Vancouver, that is, between the Whitecaps and NYCFC. And this game continued to prove the fact that the West is definitely the more superior conference. I really think the West is definitely better this season compared to the East, and this is the first time I've said that in quite some time, because for the past couple of years, I always feel like the East is better than the West, but it just feels like this year there's much stronger Western Conference team compared to the East. And when you look at these interconference matchup, it kind of proves it. I mean, the West has really dominated these interconference matchups starting the opening weekend. In the first half, Whitewood puts it wide after just 59 seconds in. Fernandez Markel would then puts it wide, as that was NYCFC first shot in the 10th minute. Bit of an even start to this game, I thought. Muller would then miss wide from close in the 22nd minute before Wolf puts it over from close range. Berhalter then hits it high from close in the 34th minute. Both of these teams continue to exchange some chances before Freeze denied White from close in the 35th minute, and then he denied White again from close range. Ryan White had a lot of chances in this one, and have it wasn't for Matt Freeze, and have it he not score a late goal in this one, this would have been a very frustrating night for Ryan White, that is. But there's no doubt that Vancouver had some sustained pressure. They were pressing to try to get the opener. But the question is, can they beat Matt Freeze? Because this is the game that maybe will make U.S. men's national team fan at least a little bit more relaxed. I mean, again, I don't know how U.S. men's national team feel heading into the World Cup. I'm pretty sure Compton is not very high after what happened during the March friendly, but at least Matt Freeze was definitely up for it in this one, but he couldn't do anything with this attempt in the 44th minute. As Vancouver finally got the breakthrough, it's Laborda. He scored from Berhalter to make it 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. It was not great set piece defending whatsoever from NYCFC, and yeah, they paid the price. It's 1-0 for the Whitecaps heading into halftime. In the second half, Freeze would deny Muller from long range before he denied Berhalter from close in the 50th minute. White would then hits it right to Freeze from the corner as Vancouver kind of picked up where they left off. They continued to push to try to get the second goal. Hopefully, finally beat Matt Freeze for once. O'Neill then had a shot that was deflected and denied by Taco Okun. I forgot NYCFC started kind of getting to the second half, but it was a bit of a slow start, but they're starting to get in the second half, maybe trying to get the equalizer. White would then hits one that was denied by Freeze, and then he was in on goal here again, but just unable to put it on or put too much power into it, and just hits it right to Freeze, and you just kind of wonder, is this just one of those games for Brian White where nothing just seems to go on? Every striker will have these kind of game, and it just feels like this was kind of that type of game for Brian White. And for Vancouver, despite they continue to push that second goal, can they finally shut the door? Because they had a lot of opportunity up to this point. White then missed wide from close in the 82nd minute, but then the 87th minute, you know that old saying, if you don't succeed, try again. Brian White finally they take that advice and he finally scored. I mean, again, if you give Brian White that many chances in the game, he's eventually going to bury one, even in an off night when it comes to his finishing in this one, as he scored here from Caicedo and Blackman to give the Whitecaps a 2-0 lead, and that was the final score of this game, as the Vancouver Whitecaps say that they're starting to become a wagon again, just like what we saw last season, now at first place in the West, and in fact, they're actually tied in first place in the West, because the team they're tied with, I'll talk about in part number 2, that are definitely also are becoming a bit of a wagon, and an unexpected wagon as well. And it feels like my prediction from the beginning of season, when I predicted this team to finish dead last, it feels like it's deja vu all over again, where I predict the team finished dead last in the West. Somehow, in some way, magically, that team not only overachieved, but becoming an absolute wagon and becoming one of the better team in the West to begin the season. So I'm pretty sure every fan base are basically asking me next year to predict them to finish dead last, especially out of the West. Just think that maybe I have some magic power to have somehow I'll get that prediction absolutely wrong and goes the reverse way. Even though, again, I know some conspiracy theorists might think that is the case, but no, I don't have that magic power. Anyway, getting back to the game before we go too deep into that rabbit hole. Shots in this one, 23 shots for the 12 that NYCFC had, 2 shots on goal for the 10 that Vancouver has. Yeah, if it wasn't for Matt Freese, this would have been a more ugly scoreline. 3 shots off target for both of these teams. 6 shots that was blocked for the 8 that Vancouver has. And possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46 possession that Vancouver has in this game. Now, moving on, in the next match is New England and DC. And I gotta say, this game could have gone either way. I mean, this was a relatively even game. There were definitely chances for both of these teams. But in the end, New England just took advantage of the one opportunity they had, and that's the reason why they walk away with 3 points. In the first half, the post would denied Patula from long range. That was the shot, or that was the game's first shot, that is. Fine goal would then miss wide from close in the 4th minute before Pereira would miss wide from close range. I thought it was a lively start to this game. Again, you would expect a New England versus DC game to be a lively kind of game, but that's kind of what we got, at least early in this one. Johnson would then deny Ligoni from long range before Priani would hit it right to Turner in the 19th minute. The shots were 4-2 already for DC. Like I said, it's a very lively game. Both of these goalkeepers are already very busy early in this one, because not only the shots were pretty high, but the shots on target was also high as well. Bartlett would then hit it wide from close in the 34th minute, but then the 35th minute, New England takes the lead as Yusuf would score from Turgelman and Sands to give New England a 1-0 lead. Priani did look to answer right before halftime, but he hits it right to Turner. And we do head to halftime with New England leading 1-0. In the second half, Turgelman would put it wide from long range before Bartlett would put it wide on the header in the 57th minute. I thought DC was more on the front foot. They were pressing to get that equalizer in the second half. Hefty almost did so, and he probably should have done it here. He missed a sitter, an empty net in the back post there, and yeah, that is one that he would want to have back, but one that Matt Turner has to consider himself very lucky, because anytime when you're a goalkeeper and when the ball comes into the box, especially from a corner, you have to get there first. If you don't get there first and you missed it, chaos is going to happen in the back post, and Hefty almost made it pay as a resort. Johnson would then deny Turgelman from close in the 81st minute before the post would deny Miller from close in the 85th minute, as the refs finally realized that, yeah, this is still 1-0. I mean, you don't want to go Rohifmo as they kind of did in the second half to try to hang on to this 1-0 lead. They were pressing to get that second goal to put it away. Turgerman would then put it over from close range before Johnson would deny Miller from close in the 90th minute. But despite New England didn't get that killer second goal, they do hold on to win 1-0 in this game. The shots in this one, a lot of shots. 17 shots with 11 that New England has. Definitely more than I thought we would see in a New England versus DC game. Both teams had 4 shots on goal, 3 shots off target with a 4 that DC had, 6 shots that was blocked with a 3 that New England has, and possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that DC has in this game. And don't look now, but New England, they are rising up the standings. I believe they're now above the red line, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, I know New England has faced some easy opponents so far, and there's no doubt that this refs team, it's still a big work in progress for Marko Mitrovic, who wasn't on the touchline in this game because he got suspended in the last game after getting sent off. But things are definitely looking bright for New England, and you can only beat, of course, what's in front of you, and especially when you're a team that weren't favorites to potentially be one of the favorites and one of the world beaters in the Eastern Conference. That is, you got to take advantage of winning against teams that you should be able to beat and kind of in your category, and that's what New England is doing. They're doing a good job in terms of taking advantage of the team that they should beat to get themselves potentially back into a playoff spot. But for DC, yeah, it feels like this has started to look like what we expect from this team. I mean, after the good start that they had, it feels like that was a mirage now. And we've seen this before with DC. They tend to always get off to a good start, maybe get the fans a little hope the fact that maybe this season is different, and then yeah, they're going the wrong direction as everyone expected. Well, moving on in the next match is Charlotte and Nashville. So, like I said, CONCACAF Champions Cup team or MLS team that played in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, they actually did pretty well for the most part this week because Nashville was able to get a win, just like the Galaxy was able to do so. And for Charlotte, this is why I said that this Charlotte team, it feels like they definitely have a big fraud tag next to their name, and they're really more of a pretender than actually a contender, because these are kind of the game that they should not be losing. I know you're facing against Nashville, and I know Nashville has been very good this season, and this game also kind of proved that. Nashville definitely has the depth to compete as well, but there's no excuse of losing to a Nashville team that, as I said, they didn't really play their strongest team in this one. Surge didn't even play in this one as well. In the first half, Jasper would hit one that was juggled by Kalina, but luckily he was able to gather in the second attempt. And then the post would deny Abada, as that was Charlotte's first shot as well. And that kind of sums up Abada tenure with Charlotte FC, just not really having much luck in front of goal. They just cannot wait to get rid of his contract. His contract is a really big albatross right now to this attacking team. In the 11th minute, Mule would hit one right to Kalina. It was a lively start to this game, and as both of these teams pushed for the opener, Madrigal would then hit one right to Kalina. But in the 14th minute, Eddie Taxaf would score from Jasper and Bauer. So it's been a while since Eddie Taxaf has been on the score sheet, but he scored here to give Nashville a 1-0 lead. And Kalina, he did get a hit into this one. Probably should have done better for his standards, but yeah, just like that, Nashville were up 1-0. Bauer then looked for another, but he missed one in the 27th minute. And again, despite playing kind of their B team in this one, Nashville was definitely looking good in this one. And this again just shows you the fact that BJ Callahan side not only is a very good team, and a team that I think out of all the team in the East right now, they are the most impressive so far. They're definitely the early favorites, in my opinion, to potentially reach MLS Cup out of the East and potentially win the Eastern Conference in the regular season. But it's also just the depth of this team is definitely there. That's something that we don't usually say about a Nashville team in the past as well. In the 45th minute, Madrigal would miss one from long range, but we do head to halftime with Nashville leading 1-0. In the second half, Tokomani would then head it wide from close range, but then in the 62nd minute, Nashville doubled their lead as Jasper, who of course got the primary assist in the first half, he would be on the score chart as he scored from Mukhtar and Lovett to give Nashville a 2-0 lead. Definitely took a deflection as well, so a little fortunate, but that's what happened when you're a good team like Nashville. You're going to get that luck in your favor, and just like that, they double their lead in this one. Though that lead or that 2-goal lead looks like it was short-lived because Charlotte got a penalty as Tokamati was brought down by Lovitz in the box. So here comes Tokamati. He usually does not miss from the penalty spot, but Schwaki says no. He denied him from the spot, though he did get a second crack of it on the rebound, and he completely mishits that one. I mean, that is one that, one was a great save originally for Schwaki. Tokamati's got to score that on that rebound. Like that, we've seen this so many times before when a player had their penalty kick saved by the goalkeeper. You just hope that it might go back to you and you can score on the rebound. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. And Tokamati just completely whiffs it. So yeah, huge let off for him and a huge disappointment for Charlotte to get themselves back into this game. Schwaki though would deny Beal from close range as Charlotte continued to push trying to get one back. Nashville kind of started to shut up shop, and you kind of started to see maybe fatigue is starting to catch up to this team, knowing that they play in the middle of the week in a physical game against Club America. But then in the 90th minute, another penalty was given to Charlotte, as this time is Schwaki, the one that brought down Gutwin in the box. So kind of a 0-0 moment for Brian Schwaki because, he made that big penalty save earlier, but now he's the one that commits the penalty. And unfortunately, this time he wasn't able to keep this one out, as Charlotte did switch their penalty kick taker. Archie Goodwin was the one that takes this penalty. Of course, he won the penalty, so you might as well let the kid try to attempt to score one, and he does exactly that. So yeah, it's 2-1 in this one. It gets a little bit interesting late in this one. Mukhtar did look to respond, but he was denied by Selena, and then Morrison Ajiman would puts it high from long range. And I want to definitely mention his first name because people think, oh, when did Patrick Ajiman came back from Charlotte? No, this is a different Ajiman. This is Morrison Ajiman. And also, last I checked, no relations between both of those players as well. But yeah, in the end, Nashville, what a big win. They're definitely going to carry this win and use that as a momentum booster in the big task in a couple of days going down to the Azteca to trying to pull off the upset against Club America. The shots in this one, 13 shots for the 10 that Charlotte has, 7 shots on goal for the 4 that Charlotte has, 3 shots on target for the 4 that Nashville has, no shots that was blocked for the 2 that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that Charlotte has in this game. And I know Charlotte fans will say, well, we didn't have Wilfried Zaha in this game. And I would say that maybe he would have definitely made a bit of a difference in this game, but still, I mean, this is a game you're playing at home in front of your home fans, a place that they have always tends to get a win, and you face against a Nashville team that is not at their best, and in some way almost kind of like punting this game away, like what we saw with LAFC did, and they don't get all 3 points out of this game, or even get a point out of this. This is why, as I said before, I really think this team is a pretender. I will give them credit, the fact that they have taken advantage in terms of a relatively easy schedule, and not to mention taking advantage of able to get 3 points against teams that went down to 10 men. I mean, they in terms of all the teams that have been able to get to play up a man, Charlotte has been the most lethal one. They have really took a full advantage of it, but it's just when it's even strength, that's when it's been the big problem for the Charlotte team. They just have not been good even in strength, and yeah, this is a very disappointing resort for Charlotte, especially against a Nashville team that definitely were not playing their best team in this one for obvious reason. But last but not least, heading into the final game of this week, or at least the final game in part number 1, because tomorrow we'll do the review of the late West Coast game and then also the Sunday night soccer game as well. But yeah, now we're going to talk about Inter Miami versus the New York Red Bulls. So we're 2 games into the brand new era with Miami playing in new stadium, and they have yet to get a win in their new stadium as well. And it feels like this game was kind of a little deja vu of the last game, not only with the scoreline itself, but they looked like they were going to win this one 3-2 late, and then VAR basically says no. In the first half, Berterame with the game's first shot, he had a sitter there. Of course, he's not going to put that one away because he's completely snake-bitten. I mean, there's been a lot of talk of him potentially getting sell off in the summer. I mean, if that is going to be the case, I don't think any Inter Miami fans going to miss him, and especially the way that, yeah, Berterame, probably one of the biggest busts that we've seen Inter Miami has invested since a certain guy called Rodolfo Pizarro play for this team coming from Liga MX. Mikael then heads it wide from the corner in the 9th minute. Miami was definitely on the front foot and looked to score the opener, but instead it's the New York Red Bulls the one that scores the opener. And this feels like it was a game where it feels like the curse was finally broken by both attacking player that has just not impressed with their new team. As Ruvalcaba has really struggled to impress with his new team as well, but he finally got off the schneid here as he scored from Hall and Cow to give the Red Bulls a 1-0 lead, and finally his first career MLS goal as well. DePaul did look to answer, but he hits it right to Horvat. By the way, the Ruvalcaba goal, that was not great defending from Inter Miami. I mean, there was two Inter Miami defender that was trying to take the ball away from Julian Hall, and the trailing defender, or the guy that was supposed to mark Ruvalcaba, yeah, he decided to try to take the ball away from Julian Hall, and that was a big no-no. Like that is defending 101. When you're basically trying to chase a player from the byline, you cannot have two players go at the same ball as well, because you do that, you're gonna have one player left completely on mark, and Ruvalcaba was just completely on mark. And I know he's been going for a goal drought, but again, like I said, you can't leave players wide open in the box. It's absolutely inexcusable defending for Inter Miami, and it's been a feat so far this season for this team, and it's the reason why this team has not looked impressive whatsoever this season. DePaul did look to answer, but he hits it right to Horvat. Segovia would then miss wide from close range. Miami definitely ramping up the pressure again, trying to get that equalizer now. But Tarame would then hits it right to Horvat. Mikael would then hits it right to Horvat, but then the third minute stoppage time, Sabetti would score from DePaul and Bright to tie the game up at one apiece. You knew that was coming. I mean, as much as the Red Bulls were trying to nurse this to halftime with the lead, you knew that Inter Miami eventually is going to score. If you give them that many chances, they're going to eventually bury one, and that's exactly what happens. So we go to the second half with the game tied up at one apiece. In the second half, Falcon would miss wide from close before Messi missed just wide, despite the fact that he was open in the box. That is something you do not see every day from Lionel Messi, especially of how good he's been so far this season. But there was no doubt Miami kind of picked up where they left off. They were pressing for the lead. Savetti would puts it over from close, but then the 55th minute, it finally happened. Herman Betarame has finally scored a goal. Like I said, this is the game where if you have a long goal drought or you're finally trying to get off the schneid, this is the game to do so. Ruvalcaba did it earlier. Why not Betarame? So yeah, that ties the game, or I'm sorry, that gives Miami the lead up to that point. And like I said, the curse is finally over. He finally scored his first career MLS goal after probably should have scored one at least in the last couple of games as well. So it looked like that lead was short-lived when Sean Nealis puts it into the back of the net, but VAR did see whether or not if the goal was disallowed for offside, and it was. So the game remains 2-1 in favor of Miami, but that was once again not great defending in Miami perspective, and you just kind of had a sense that, they got to tighten things up. It is definitely a warning shot. They did not oblige that warning, because in the 77th minute, Mehmeti would score from Hall and Frosberg to tie the game up at 2 apiece. And like I said, that Miami defense, they just did not learn from that warning. I mean, Julian Hall, I know he's been on fire to start the season, but that was way too easy for him to just completely done DePaul like that and put a perfect ball to Mehmeti, who's just left completely unmarked there. Like, I know Mehmeti is not known to be a goal scorer. He's more like the chance creation, but you still can't leave him wide open in the box like that. So yeah, just like that, it's tied up at 2 apiece. Suarez did look to answer, but he hits it right to Horvat before Sofo went miss wide from close in the 84th minute. And then in the 89th minute, Betarame looked like he scored the third goal for Inter Miami. But like I said, it's like the last game, deja vu all over again. Right around the same time where Suarez thought that he got the lead for Miami against Austin. Didn't happen because the flag did not agree with him, and here we go again. It's the same thing. The goal was disallowed for offside. I believe this time it came on the attacking sequence as well. Horvat would then deny Messi on the free kick in the 4th minute of stoppage time. But yeah, in the end, Miami, they are still looking for their first win at their new stadium. That is literally and figuratively as well. As the shots in this one, 16 shots for the 5 that the Red Bulls had, 2 shots on goal for the 7 that Miami has, 7 shots off target for the 2 that the Red Bulls had, 1 shot on the block for the 2 that Miami has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that the Red Bulls has in this game. And with this draw, by the way, Miami has now only got 1 win in their last 4 games. And if you include the CONCACAF Champions Cup in all competition, that's 1 win in the last 6 games for this Inter Miami team. Now, sure, They haven't lost a single game during that stretch as well. They have gone a lot of draw. But honestly, this is Inter Miami we're talking about. We cannot just look at the glass half full in terms of the fact that, hey, they haven't lost a single game. That's usually a good thing, right? Well, the problem is this is supposed to be a team that is supposed to compete for support ratio and compete for multiple competition. And like I said, it's the same thing that we saw last season that is dooming this team. The defense. I mean, they spent money to try to fix the defense this season, and even spending the so-called goalkeeper of the year from last season that I shall not name, and I'm kind of glad to see the fact that it's definitely not working so well for the guy that I shall not name right now. It feels like almost like karma is starting to catch up to the guy that I shall not name after leaving Minnesota in terms of how things have gone. But yeah, it just feels like the way that they invested that and hope to fix that issue, and it just have not fixed whatsoever. And that, I think, is the biggest concern about this team. Now, obviously, we'll see whether or not in the summer they might reinvest. I feel that they will. They will definitely trying to reinvest, and maybe we'll find some signings that can magically improve the team. I think the biggest thing that they absolutely need to do in the summer, they have to find the right replacement for both Busquets and Alba. I've said it in the off season, and I'll say it again here. They really miss both of those guys. They really miss the not only the defensive presence from both of those guys, but also the passing ability to get yourself started on the attack. Because with both of those guys not being there, and with some of the new guys that are supposed to step into that. I mean, another example of a bad signing, David Ajala, he has just not looked good whatsoever with Inter Miami as well. They need those kind of player, and it's not easy to get those kind of players as well, because as I said, both Busquets and Alba, they are legends in this game, and it's very hard to try to replace those two legends. But if they're not able to do so, this could be an absolute epic failure of a season for this Inter Miami team. Imagine if this team does not win a trophy, and if they keep playing like this, like at a pedestrian rate. There is no way in world you could tell me that if the playoffs started today, or if another competition started today, that Inter Miami right now is favorites to win MLS Cup. That just doesn't seem like it's happening. With just so much question with the defense of this team. With this team just doesn't look right. And I know Messi is still doing his thing, but he can only do so much until the defense has just become just such a liability right now for this team. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of talking about all of these games, at least the first 8 games. That is. Tomorrow we'll finish up by looking at the last 6 games, including talk about my team. And this is actually, by the way, the second consecutive week that I saw both of my team won a game. When's the last time I've said that both of my team was able to win in a match week in back-to-back week? I don't think that has happened in a very long time. But we'll definitely talk about that, and then of course the Sunday night soccer game that happened earlier. We'll talk about that as well. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.